Hello and welcome back to our channel. Today, we're going to talk about The Devil and Miss Prym by Paulo Coelho, a thought-provoking novel that challenges our perceptions of good and evil. Paulo Coelho is a renowned Brazilian author, known for his spiritual and philosophical writing. Overview of the plot. The Devil and Miss Prym is set in a small village nestled in the mountains. The village is isolated and barely connected to the outside world. The villagers lead a simple and traditional life until the arrival of a stranger who poses a life-changing question to them. The stranger is an enigmatic and persuasive figure who challenges the villagers' beliefs and values. He has become disillusioned with humanity and now seeks to test people's morality and beliefs. He believes that people are capable of great evil and that their true nature is revealed in times of crisis. He offers the villagers a fortune in gold if they agree to sacrifice one of their own. The stranger tells the villagers that he will return in a week to collect their decision. The villagers are initially skeptical and horrified by the stranger's proposal. They are a close-knit community, and they do not want to harm one of their own. However, as the days go by, the villagers' doubts and fears begin to grow. The temptation of the gold is too great, and some villagers start to consider the possibility of sacrificing one of their own to obtain it. The villagers hold several meetings to discuss the stranger's proposal. Some villagers argue that they should sacrifice one of their own to obtain the gold, while others argue that they should not give in to temptation. Miss Prym, the young and empathetic woman, becomes the only person who stands up to the stranger and challenges his proposal. She tries to convince her fellow villagers not to give in to temptation and to choose the path of goodness. As the deadline for the stranger's return approaches, the villagers become more divided. Some villagers are willing to sacrifice one of their own to obtain the gold, while others refuse to harm one of their own. Miss Prym struggles to convince her fellow villagers to make the right decision, and her efforts put her in danger. On the day of the stranger's return, the villagers make their decision and ultimately decide to sacrifice an old and sick woman named Berta, who is seen as an outcast and has no immediate family or friends to defend her. However, just as they are about to carry out the sacrifice, Miss Prym intervenes and stops them. She convinces them that they are not inherently evil and that they do not have to sacrifice an innocent life to obtain the gold. The stranger reveals his true intentions and the full extent of his plan. The stranger wanted to prove that people are not inherently good and that they are willing to do anything to fulfill their desires. He also reveals that the gold was never his to give, and he leaves the village empty-handed. He is forced to admit that humans are neither good nor evil. The consequences of the villagers' decision have far-reaching effects on the village and its inhabitants. Miss Prym's struggles and the villagers' decision ultimately reveal the innate goodness and potential for evil within all of us. Themes and motifs. The Devil and Miss Prym explores several themes and motifs, such as good versus evil, human nature, and morality. The author delves into the idea that there is a devil and an angel in every person, and that we must choose which one to follow. This idea is central to the book, and it is explored through the characters of Miss Prym and the stranger. Miss Prym represents the innate goodness in people. She is a symbol of hope and compassion in the story. She believes that people are inherently good and that they must choose the path of goodness, even if it is difficult. Her struggles in the story represent the struggle of humanity to choose goodness over evil. The stranger, on the other hand, represents the temptation towards evil. He is a symbol of the devil in the story. He is charming and persuasive, but also manipulative and dangerous. He tempts the villagers with the promise of wealth and power, but in doing so, he reveals their innermost desires and fears. The stranger's ultimate goal is to prove that people are not inherently good, but that they are willing to do anything to fulfill their desires. The book also highlights the consequences of our actions and how far we are willing to go to achieve our desires. The villagers' decision to sacrifice one of their own has far-reaching consequences for themselves and the entire village. The decision also has consequences for the stranger, who is forced to confront his own morality and the lengths he will go to prove his point. The author also examines the struggle between individual freedom and collective responsibility. The villagers must make a collective decision about the stranger's proposal, but they are also individuals with their own desires and fears. This struggle is especially evident in Miss Prym, who must balance her individual conscience with her responsibility to the village. Analysis of the characters. Miss Prym is the most complex character in the story. She is torn between her innate goodness and her desire to protect her village. She is the only person who sees the stranger's true intentions and tries to resist his temptation. Her struggles represent the struggle of humanity to choose goodness over evil. She is a symbol of hope and compassion in the story. Her character also explores the concept of individual conscience versus collective responsibility. The stranger is a mysterious and intriguing figure. He is charming and persuasive, but also manipulative and dangerous. He represents the temptation towards evil and is a symbol of the devil in the story. His character is essential in exploring the theme of good versus evil. He tempts the villagers with the promise of wealth and power, but in doing so, he reveals their innermost desires and fears. His character also raises the question of whether people are inherently good or evil. The villagers are a diverse group of people, each with their own desires, fears, and secrets. They represent the collective struggle between good and evil. The author masterfully develops each villager, revealing their motivations and thoughts. The villagers' decision to sacrifice one of their own has far-reaching consequences for themselves and the entire village. Their struggles represent the struggle of humanity to choose between individual freedom and collective responsibility. The author also introduces several minor characters, such as the village priest and the innkeeper. These characters provide a deeper insight into the villagers' beliefs and values. Literary techniques. Coelho employs various literary techniques throughout the book to emphasize the central themes and motifs. Symbolism is one of the main techniques used in the book. The author uses the symbolism of the devil and the angel to represent the inherent good and evil within each person. Miss Prym represents the angel, while the stranger represents the devil. The symbolism of the gold represents the temptation towards evil and the consequences of greed. The setting of the small village is also used as a metaphor to represent the world. The villagers are a microcosm of humanity, and their struggles represent the struggles of humanity as a whole. The author uses the villagers' decision to sacrifice one of their own to explore the themes of individual freedom versus collective responsibility. Foreshadowing is another literary technique used in the book. The author uses foreshadowing to create suspense and keep the reader engaged. The author hints at the stranger's true intentions throughout the story, but the full extent of his plan is not revealed until the end. The author also employs a non-linear narrative structure, which adds to the book's complexity and depth. The author uses flashbacks to reveal the backstory of the villagers and the stranger. The non-linear structure of the book adds to the suspense and keeps the reader engaged. Conclusion. The Devil and Miss Prym is a beautifully written novel that challenges our beliefs and perceptions. It raises several thought-provoking questions about morality and human nature. The book is both gripping and insightful, making it a must-read for anyone interested in philosophy and spiritual writing. Thank you for watching, and please let us know your thoughts on the book in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe.